Hello and welcome back to the channel. Big old bright day 2, sun shining outside. All right, so today game plan is we're going to start laying down in a sense, the floor joist. So I've kind of got a little bit of a plywood pattern going there. So we're starting off on this end. Got all our rubber in. What I'm going to end up doing is cutting these down to about 2.5 inches long. Cut this one down 2.5, and then I've got my floor joist right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 24 inches, so exactly halfway on a sheet of plywood, mark it out, use the laser level. And what I'm doing is I'm going to use, where can I find, there it is. I'm going to use some PL 300, and I'm going to end up gluing these down to the floor, just because I don't want, in a sense, too much vibration from the plywood floor going down onto the rubber. I don't want those to be moving around because this is kind of, holding the floating floor up. So that's why I'm using PL 300. I read online PL 300 is a lot better for rubber. This is technically for the foam board, but it's really good for adhering to rubber as well. So that's why I've gone with the PL 300. So yeah, I'm gonna cut my rubber, line everything up, get it all glued down, and then start putting down the joist there, getting everything measured up because I want to screw my plywood into those floor joists there just so everything's held nice together. It's got some good structure to it, and we'll go from there. All right, so got all my little rubber squares. They're about 4 to 5 inches by 2.5 inches, somewhere in there. Like I said, so my floor joist here, these wood cuts, those are technically the same 1x6s here that are I just ended up running through the table saw, cut them in half, and that's what I'm gonna use for floor joist. Now, with lining up all these little squares I'm going to glue to the floor, I got to look at my pattern here. So this is going to be, in a sense, this wall right here, down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap everything so it's nice. It's a little bit stronger this way. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with a 2 foot by 4 foot piece, and then the next piece is a 4 foot by 4 foot, and then another 2 foot, and then a full 8 foot piece, 8 foot piece, 8 foot piece, 8 foot, 8 foot. So that's 8 foot by 4 foot. And then the last piece here, that's a 4 foot by 4 foot. Now, the idea here is what I'm going to do is exactly halfway here, which is 24 inches. That's where I'm going to be gluing down every 24 inches along the line here. One of the little rubber things. And then in between the joints here, I'm going to do the same thing every 24 inches. And I'm going to do that in 5 rows. And then for the actual joists themselves, what I'm going to do is do the same thing where I run it down the middle, down the line, down the line. So 5 rows on top of all those rubber things. And then in between the joints here, so where the X's are, I'm going to cut pieces, and I'm going to screw them to the plywood, lay the plywood down, and then when I go to put this piece of plywood on, I have something to screw into. So now that I've made an absolute mess of rubber everywhere, and I'm going to be using an adhesive, what I'm going to do is just tidy everything up, get it nice and clean inside the footprint here, so that I could get to start gluing. Always try and keep your tools clean. They last a lot longer. All right, clean as a whistle. Okay, so what we do now, or what I am doing now, is this is where I'm going to mark out my 24 inches. So you make sure you go from the inside here, because in theory, because I've got 12 foot there, 3 pieces of plywood will fit perfectly across. And what I want to do is spread out the weight every 2 foot, so 24 inches. So what I've done, marked a 24 right there. It's not exactly perfect, I guess. Could do that a little better. All right, 24. Get that marked, and then we're going to go to the other side of the room. Sorry if this is kind of shoddy camera work. It's kind of hard to do construction with just one hand. All right, so mark the 24 here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it here as well, somewhere close to there. And then leave that for now. Then we're going to go over, grab our laser level, set it to the line. And then this might be kind of hard to see, but what I'm doing is I'm lining the laser up right in line with our line over there. And I'll just make sure we're straight on there. It's got the yellow line. That looks pretty good. Now you can see I've got, it's a little dim in there. And I'm kind of off just a bit. Go back, make an adjustment. And okay, there. Got it lined up on either end, or close enough anyways. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the tape measure, and then I'm going to run it across the whole way here so I can see exactly where 2 feet is. So I can go to lay out all of my pieces with no issues. Now, because we are starting with a 2 foot piece here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run the tape over, let's say maybe about 1 foot. Right about there. Lost my pencil somewhere. I always try and keep my pencil in my hat, and then sometimes it gets taken out. You carpenters will know how often you lose your pencils. Okay, so I'm gonna mark off 1 foot, and that's going to be the starting point of where I hold my tape. So 1 foot is right about there. And put that down, run it across the whole span, mark it off, and then start running the rubber. All right, got them all marked. Just little X's there. whole way along. Now this is just where I'm going to start gluing and putting it kind of right in the center there, the narrow side. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so what I'm electing to do is I'm just going to do the PL right here as they're all squares. It kind of saves me time, and this stuff kind of likes to run a lot once you get it open. So let's crack this open. We'll get this going. Now, if you never, oh man, this knife, if you never used this stuff before, super easy. Just cut yourself a nice angle on the end. Something like that, nice little angle. And this thing has a nice little poker on it. Sometimes you just got to get a long stick or something. Poke that down in there. Stuff can also be quite messy, so make sure you have some paper towel on hand. Wear gloves if you like. I got my gloves over here. Probably going to put them on. Simple as slide it in. Get your nice angle. Get it somewhat tight, and then you just keep on pushing till stuff starts coming out. I'm going to apply this generously just because I want these to stay over a long period of time. Okay, once you got that, there's little triggers on these. Oh, this one's ridiculously tight. You pop that and you can pull this back. As you can see, it's still dripping out the end. So I just like to wipe it. Grab your paper towel. Just kind of clean it up. And because I'm going to be using this a lot more, I'm just going to leave this here. Now, this is where we get to... Let's just make sure that's in the shot there. It should be right there. Now I've got my X lined up right there. What I'm going to do is just nicely center it, place it down, give it some nice pressure, and then from there just going to go along the whole way, putting all these down. So I'm going to do the entire floor. Probably do this off camera because this is going to take a bit of time and I don't want to bore you guys. And I'll check back in with you once I got that all done. All right, so that took about, I want to say an hour, but we got all the little rubber squares in, whole way across the room. So as you can see now, the joist is going to run right down there. You got the 5 rows. Next thing I'm going to do is just line up all the joists. I'm going to leave a slight gap on the very end here. I'm going to leave like about 1/8 of a gap, just so I don't get, in a sense, a squeaky floor. So yeah, that should work out pretty good. I'm going to get these all cut, laid out, and then we'll check back in. I'll show you the progress. All right, so I kind of got the floor joist lined up here, as you can see, and then I also decided to drop a piece of plywood down just for this little demonstration purpose. So you can see these fit nicely on top of the rubber feet here. And then what I'm going to do is I have my 8-foot sheet of plywood in this corner. It's going to be another full 8 foot coming this way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut pieces that will fit in between to here. And then I'm going to screw down into there so that when the next sheet of plywood goes on top of that, I've got something to be able to screw down to. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw down this, cut those pieces, and then just keep the progress going. All right, so just want to show you guys exactly how I'm joining up the 2x4 or the plywood and the 1x3s I've got here. So as you can see, I've got the little strip. This is the same one as these. That's running in between on both sides. And then I've got just 3 screws holding it in. It's nice and snug up there. And then basically at this point, all I'm doing is taking the little 2-foot piece here, slinging it in, lining it up as good as I can to this piece right here. Feels pretty good. And then I'm just going to stagger the screws. So I've got one there, so I'm going to put one there, one there, one there, do it down the center, follow the whole groove along. And that way everything should be nice and tight. It'll help it kind of swaying back and forth this way. Now, one thing I noticed, like just standing on this, it kind of feels a touch like a trampoline. And the plywood isn't flexing too much that I can see, so obviously the rubber is doing exactly as it's intended. So hopefully this helps with the sound. I'm going to keep on going here. All right, so I got about this far. Got the 2-foot piece, the 4-foot piece. I got this whole entire row done. So that's looking good now. So it's getting dark out. As you can see, it's dark out the window. So what I'm thinking is calling it a day. It's kind of getting late in the day, so I'll leave it like this. I gotta go bring up 3 more sheets of plywood, 2 3/4 technically, because it's going to be 1 full one, 3/4 piece, and then 2 full ones to finish the last row. But yeah, this is pretty good progress. Like I said, up here, as soon as I get on the plywood, it's got like nice springy action to it. So hopefully that does some wonders. Also, so the plan is, this is just basically going to be a nailing strip and going to put in some nice hardwood on top of this, kind of help with reflecting the sound inside the room rather than down. So yeah, we'll take this up on day 3. Thanks for watching day number 2, and I'll catch you tomorrow.